Welcome to Inspire and Move, the show that inspires you to create, connect, and grow. I'm going to bring you meaningful conversations, aha moments, and all the motivation you need to up-level every part of your life. I'm Ali Aruda, founder of Inspire and Move, and your personal hype girl. I've gone from fashion school to celebrity stylist to corporate marketing to brick-and-mortar entrepreneurship with my husband, each time learning incredible lessons how to pivot, reimagine, and implement the steps to become successful. I'm passionate about inspiring others to live their best life, a life of joy. We have the power to design a life that we love, because life is too short not to. The best part is that you weren't meant to do this alone. If you feel like you are meant for more, let me ride shotgun with you, and together, let's get you to where you want to go. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Inspire and Move podcast. I'm your host, Ali Aruda. We are in studio today. We are back in studio, and I am so excited for today's special guest, my new friend, Natalie, and neighbor, the Benchmark Fitness neighbor, because I just recently had one heck of an experience at Anagen Hair and Scalp Institute here in beautiful downtown Burlington, Ontario, right on the water. And I said to Natalie after my first experience that you have to come on the podcast. We have to talk about this. So today, please give a warm welcome, whether you are listening to this or watching it on YouTube, to my new friend, Natalie.
Hello.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited to have you here. I was saying, actually, I had lunch earlier today with my friend who is also my podcast producer and manager, and I was telling her about you being on the show today and what we're going to talk about. And I said very proudly, I am going to channel my inner Lauren Bostic and Skinny Confidential, because I feel like we're going to get so nerdy talking about hair and scalp health, because you just came at me with a big wow moment after my first visit to Anagen last week.
Yeah.
So before we dive into all of that, I want to peel back the layers of this little metaphorical onion, and let's go back to talking really about you and your story, where you started. I know we share a passion for health and fitness, but take me back.
Yeah. So I got started in this because I had my own scalp issues. I had eczema coming down from my scalp onto my face during the pandemic. And I was like, no, this isn't happening. This isn't going to go this route. My hairstylist had told me to put conditioner on the eczema. So I did, and I listened to her, and I massaged that in there. And then my hair started falling out in that place. And it never fully came back when I started shampooing it and cleaning it, and I couldn't understand like why and what was going wrong and what had caused it. So I got referred to go to another scalp place, and that's kind of kicked off the journey from there.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that is not an ideal moment for any female. And I think it is so interesting that I know we'll get into this as well in terms of what we as women are always told what to do when it comes to hair health, whether it be, what you read in way back in the day, Cosmo magazine, or blogs, of course, the conversations you would have with your stylist, just like you spoke to.
Yeah.
But it's such a different experience than what it really means to focus on that hair and scalp health.
Yes.
Now, you're also coming to this from a nutrition background as well. So tell me a little bit more about your background for you personally when it comes to just your relationship with nutrition, with a fit and healthy lifestyle.
So I was in personal training before, and then I got into nutrition, got my diploma. I was a gut health specialist, and that was another thing that really spawned this, because eczema, psoriasis, those are autoimmune things. So we have to look at what's happening internally if we really want to try to combat what's happening on the surface level. So that's another factor that drove me right into this, was the nutrition and the gut health, because it all talks to each other.
Were you experiencing your own gut issues while you also had your scalp situation going on?
No, gut health was fine and in check at that time. I was more so helping my own clients with gut health at that time. I think this was just, the whole stress of the pandemic and everything else that was going on from there, not knowing, because it was right at the very beginning of the pandemic. But once we had stopped putting the conditioner on my scalp and shampooing with proper products, it really cleared up.
Okay. All right. So you were having this experience, and you have gone to your stylist, and then you're also looking at it from a nutrition lens and lifestyle standpoint. Were you working for yourself at the time? Like, were you an entrepreneur?
Yes.
Okay. and in like as a personal trainer, nutritionist.
Yeah, moving into online, helping people with nutrition. So I started developing a nutrition education program so I could educate my clients on what to eat, when to eat, how to eat it. And so that's what I was doing at the time. And then I started going for my own scalp treatments, and then they would ask me to join on. And I was like, okay, I think we're going to give this a shot because I really want to have a better understanding of what's happening and how can I help other people with this. And that was really what pushed me into scalp health and scalp science.
So you joined the team.
Yes.
Okay, amazing. And how long were you there for?
A couple of years.
And were you feeling like, I can't wait to hear like what the transition was from, obviously you had the problem, quote unquote, what was a problem. We don't want to lose our hair as women, especially the front of our head. So you have the problem, you have found a solution and working through the solution. Now you really believe in the product, the service experience, join the team. Where in that did you have this dream and vision that, you know what, this is something that I really am passionate about and I want to start it for myself?
Yeah. So my whole family is a whole line of entrepreneurs. Everybody works for themselves. My dad, my mom, my brother, my cousin. So that I think was the big kick out the door was I want to do this on my own, and I want to have something that I can educate people with and really spread the knowledge of what happened to me and making sure that anybody else is going through the same thing isn't going to be walking the same path that I did and having all of the questions like, what the heck am I doing and how am I going to fix this?
I love that. Yeah. I'm so opposite. Like I always said how I was kind of like the black sheep of my family or like the black puppy, whatever, metaphor you want to use, because my whole family was traditional. Like my dad was a pilot, my brother was a pilot, my mom was a flight attendant, my sister was a flight attendant. Like everyone was airline.
Oh, that's so different.
And then I grew up, I was like, I'm going to fashion school. And then from there, I had my sort of my journey of one career to another that have actually all come together so beautifully as an entrepreneur now, because I love creating our Benchmark Fitness merchandise and marketing our events and PR and social and being on camera. It's so funny how that all has come together, but I am the only person in our family lineup that is an entrepreneur. And so I think it's interesting how there's always those two experiences where you come from a full line of it. And if you were the last one to join the party, you're like, okay, got it. Joining the party of full-on entrepreneurship.
Joining the rest of the family.
Yeah. So what year is this? Tell me like what year?
So 2020.
2020.
Yeah.
Okay. And you had this vision, like, did you just love it so much that you knew you wanted to?
I did, yeah. And the clients that I had that were coming in, I had like a 12-year-old girl that had alopecia areata. She had lost her hairline back to here. And then long story short, 9 months later, her mom came in to buy shampoo. And I was like, hey, how's your daughter doing? Haven't seen her in a while. And she was like, oh, maybe you don't recognize her because she's sitting in your chair right now. And I didn't recognize her because when she first came in, she didn't want to talk to anybody. She was slumped over. She didn't hold her head up. And it was pandemic as well, so we had the masks on. And she just was not a 12-year-old, and rightfully so. I wouldn't feel very good either if I had lost my hairline as well. Mm-hmm. And then 9 months later, she was in, and that was her sitting in the chair, and she had bangs, and she was on TikTok, and she was FaceTiming her friends, and she wanted nothing to do with me, which was fine. But it was one of those moments you go into the back, and you have a good cry, and you go, oh my God, this really works. And this is really something that you can give to people and get their confidence back. And it doesn't matter how young or how old they are. Like, our hair is our identity. It's also a sign of health as well, right? If we're not healthy, we're not growing good hair. So that was a really big, whole moment for me. And I was like, I got to do this.
Oh, I love that. I think this is so powerful when it comes to your why, the story behind entrepreneurship. I've always been so open about my connection to fitness. That was after my brother died and he took his own life, that I looked to fitness as a grief mechanism and coping mechanism. I went through a phase where I didn't have a healthy relationship with fitness, with the scale, with food. Eventually was able to turn it into wanting to feel strong and fit and healthy. And here we are all these years later, have this beautiful business and brand that's dedicated to it. And I love the emotional story and connection and the why behind Benchmark Fitness. Yeah. And so same thing for you, that you had an issue, you had the problem, you sought out the support, and now that is your deep-rooted why.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we are on, it was 2020, we're in the entrepreneurial journey. Yesterday I recorded a podcast with the entrepreneurial roller coaster, which is so very real.
Yeah.
It really, truly is.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we'll get into that. But okay, talk to me about your vision for Anagen.
Anagen is an institute. It's an education place. It's a place if you have a scalp issue, if you have a hair issue, you're just not quite sure what's going on with it. I want you to know that you can come in here. We can address your issues. We're very professional with what we're looking at. We have estheticians, we have hair loss practitioners. I'm a registered nutritionist as well. So we have the external, we have the internal, we have some other science behind it to really get those erector pili muscles pushing the hair out and just creating a really healthy environment for growth.
You guys, I have to give you some context here because I went for my first experience last week. I'm saying experience, but it would also be a treatment is another accurate word.
Yeah, it's both.
And it's an experience because it's such a beautiful place. And it really is. It's like a scalp spa. Like it is such a serene environment, pristine, clean, smells beautiful. I feel like you really nailed it with all the senses.
Thank you.
In terms of, which I appreciate so much, as like what it smells like, feels like, that what you're looking at. You're looking at the water. So beautiful. And it starts with an assessment. Well, why am I talking about it? Why don't I let Natalie talk about it? Here, I'm like, guys, this is what it is. You tell everyone what it starts with.
So you can come in and start with the scalp consult. So we do the deep dive that you went through with the camera on the scalp. We're 200 times the zoom looking at your follicles.
That's what it was, 200 times. It was very close.
Yeah, it was right in there. Yeah. And then we have the UV light so we can check and see which follicles are congested and plugged. And that's really important for us because that's really the big catalyst that stops our hair from growing. And then when we get into like our 40s and 50s and we're in that perimenopause or menopausal years, we start thinking that it's the menopause that's causing that hair loss when really it's just a lifetime of buildup and congestion on your scalp.
Okay, I need to pause you right here because, again, for context, Natalie asked me what I thought. I was like, oh my gosh, I have like such a healthy scalp. It's probably, it's going to be great. Like I mean, half the time I don't even wash my own hair. I go to experts to wash my hair. And I thought I came in so confident. I was like, it's going to look so great. Guys, it was not. It was very inflamed. There's a lot of stuff happening up there in my scalp. It was a very humbling experience. But I need you to share like what it is that gets into our scalp. Like if, you mentioned how I go for a run outside and running by the water with the bugs and debris.
Yeah. So your hair is kind of like an air filter as you're just walking through the air. It picks up dust. It picks up bugs and anything else that you can't see. So if you can imagine that, there's a lot of stuff that's being attracted into your hair. And then all day long, we have oil that's being produced. So every hair has an oil gland attached to it, and that's pumping out oil. When you go to sleep, when you're walking around, when you're stressed out, it's a defense mechanism for your body, and it's also a detox mechanism. So if that's happening all day long, and then you're not washing your scalp, maybe once a week or twice a week is the norm, and then you're attracting all of this dirt and bacteria, and then bacteria love to feed off of that sebum. Like it is the most nutritious thing for them. I know it's the most nutritious thing for them. And here we are being told by our stylists not to wash because it's going to dry out your skin or your hair, when in reality, you're creating a really nasty microbiome on your scalp that will make your hair fall out.
Yeah. So we just need to touch on this point for a second because we are like debunking a myth that I think 98% of us women have grown up following, between what maybe Cosmo magazine said and your hairstylist, of how not to wash your hair too much and too often in a week because it's going to dry it out. You need to touch on this.
Yeah. So I don't blame your stylist. It's not their fault. It's the school that they're being taught in, and it's a very old style way of treating the hair. And I think now, being in like 2025, we have a plethora of products that are good, that don't have, sodium chloride in them, things that aren't just going to excessively strip your scalp and make them really dry. Whereas back in the day when we were all growing up, the Dove shampoo or the Pantene, like that can cause your hair or scalp to dry out if you're sensitive to those things, which majority of the people are if you're going to start using them on a regular basis. So that's why they were telling us, don't wash it as often, use your natural oils. But now we're in, a time where we can actually look at what's happening, and we can have healthier products, have products that don't have the sulfites and all of those other endocrine disruptors in them that are actually cleansing our scalp in a way that we want them to, versus back in the day when we were being told not to wash our hair as often.
Fascinating. Okay, so what is... I mean, just like still listening to you in awe, because it just like really shook me. I brought my friend Kayla with me to the experience, and both of us, actually every day since, she'll ask me like, so did you wash your hair today?
So did you?
Yeah, I washed it yesterday. I think I'm on like every other day now.
That's good. That's really good.
Yeah. But I recognize that I'm also really hard. Like my lifestyle, I am hard on my hair.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that for a second. For those of us fitness girlies that sweat all the time and like to wear baseball hats, can we touch on that?
Yeah. Wash your baseball hats often. Please,
Do we have Do we have like a recommended toolkit of how to wash a baseball hat?
Whatever is good for you. You can hand wash it. Like your Dawn dish soap would be just fine. It's mild. It's not going to cause any irritation on your skin. They use it on animals, right?
Yes. Love those
so that would
commercials.
that would be fine. Or however you want to wash them, throw them in your washing machine. It doesn't matter. Or if you don't want to wash it, you can actually spray it with rubbing alcohol, like a 70% alcohol. You will have to keep spraying it so it stays wet. Otherwise, the alcohol absorbs. But if you consistently keep spraying it, that will help to disinfect it as well. That would be a good way to clean them. But definitely, if you're a workout girly, I really recommend that you're washing more often, because that salt being left on your scalp is going to dry out your scalp skin. Then your oil glands are going to come in and start pumping out more oil, and then you're not going to wash that off. And then that salt left on your scalp and hair can make your hair very brittle and snap right off at the root and give you more breakage that we don't want to have.
You guys, you heard it here. I know, I'm sorry. We have just put so much more work on your daily routines, but we want long, luscious, healthy, beautiful hair.
Yeah.
Because I think this is exactly what has happened to me, because I think that many of us live very busy lifestyles, busy days, and I'm sure the fitness girlies are the demographic that love dry shampoo.
Yes.
I think that is an energetic match.
Yeah.
And how do we feel about dry shampoo?
Okay, so dry shampoo was invented for those that are in the hospital that cannot get out of their bed to go and wash themselves. So dry shampoo, I personally would professionally tell you not to use it. Don't use the dry shampoo. So if you can imagine, you have all of this oil, wet oil on your scalp, and then you blow in that dry shampoo and you apply a powder to it that then absorbs the oil. And a lot of times, most people aren't washing that out the next day, because now they're like, oh, it's okay, I'm not so oily anymore. I'm just going to try to stretch this out another day. Some people will compound that and put more on top of it. And basically, when that dries with the oil and your dead skin cells in there, it kind of starts like a case on the scalp where you're not actually able to then penetrate the scalp, and that's just a really, really, really unhealthy environment for your follicles.
Oh my gosh, I know. I can only imagine we're breaking hearts right now with this
Yeah,
conversation.
I know. I'm so
many
sorry.
broken hearts of all these girlies listening.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're chatting through like what it is that comes onto our scalp from everything. You also had shared something with me a couple weeks ago about itching your scalp. That especially, I mean, I recently just got hair extensions taken out, and that first like head scratch is just so euphoric. And I think also when you have someone else that's scratching your head, especially hopefully if you've just washed it, so it's very, very clean. Tell me, but the listeners also, about what that potential damage does when you aggressively scratch your scalp.
Right. So your scalp is an extension of your face. It's the exact same skin. So we want to care for it the same way. And you wouldn't go in on your face just scratching that as hard as you would your scalp. So I don't want you to be scratching your scalp the same way. Secondly, we have a lot of dirt and bacteria underneath our nails as well. And if you're going to be scratching that really sensitive, thin skin on your scalp, you can break it and then introduce that dirt and bacteria to it, which can then lead to an infection in the follicles. Worst case scenario, that can actually lead to a scarring alopecia where your hair stops growing in that spot.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So we need to talk through the entire process, like the Anagen process, and I want to know the whys behind each step.
So of the whole process.
Yeah.
So you come in, we do the scalp consult. We need to see what we're looking at, how we're able to help you. Is it dry skin? Actually, is it dandruff? Is it psoriasis? We need to understand what we're looking at. So that's the consult. And then from there, we move into eucalyptus water. So it's a little bit of an aromatherapy, but it's a pre-wash for us. It's also antimicrobial. So we want to be able to stop that bacteria in its tracks, so we'll spray your scalp with that, and then we move into the descaling solution, and that has enzymes to break down all of that hard, congested oil buildup that would be deep into the follicle. We use a galvanic machine, so that's got a microcurrent on it, and that is doing multiple things. So with a positive ion, it's like a magnet for dirt, particulate matter, things that are just really trapped in the skin and embedded, and so we use that, and it helps to pull it right out. That also helps with oxidative stress as well. And then there's a little muscle attached to every hair called the rector pili, and you would know it from when you get goosebumps, right? And it makes your hair like grow. So we do that to your scalp. So we run that over your scalp. You don't feel it, but it's pulling on that muscle, and that starts to push the hair out as well. From there, we go into an exfoliation. So we scrub the heck out of your scalp to get all of that stuff off. And then we're going to steam and sterilize you with the steam cap, which I know you loved so much.
Yeah. It's so chic.
Yes, it's so sexy. So we put that steam cap on, and we just really concentrate that steam on your scalp. And it's a low-grade ozone, so it actually sterilizes any bacteria or fungal bacteria that would be on your scalp. It's just
Why am I like getting itchy? Like my scalp is itching. I was like, okay, but itch gently, Allie.
Yeah.
Very gentle itch. Natalie is
nails.
watching. I love that you could tell I was doing that.
It distracted me so much. So then you're there with your feet in the massager. We steam you for 10 or 15 minutes, depending on which treatment you have done. And then you head over to the wash station where we do a double cleanse, one with our hands, one with the scrubber again. And then you got a scalp massage where we have a really nice hydrating cream that we massage into your scalp that's very hydrating and healing. We rinse that all off and bring you back to the chair. We finish with a scalp serum, which is hyaluronic acid, aloe, everything to reduce inflammation and boost blood flow circulation. Also has a little bit of caffeine in it because we know when we apply caffeine topically, it really excites the vasodilation and helps bring that blood flow in a little bit better than rosemary oil would. So if there's anybody out there who likes caffeine, you can put that on your scalp.
Just dump a cup of coffee on my scalp.
Coffee on your scalp.
And like scrub it around. Gently.
Gently, yes, just very gently. And then, we finish your hair, and if you want to finish with a blow dry, then we can do that.
It was an amazing experience. Okay, and now I need to know because I know we've talked about a journey plan for myself and my really healthy scalp that I thought I went in with, and that this is also a treatment that is like friendly for males, females, children?
Yes, we can do children. Yeah, my 6-year-old does it.
Oh, amazing.
Yes, he loves it.
Should I do it for my dogs? Because they want that. Okay, so how often would someone do this? Is this like, I want to come in for a one-time experience? Or obviously everyone's unique if you are coming in with alopecia or something specific?
Yeah. So even if you don't have any scalp issues, you can come in here and enjoy the treatment. It's very, very, very relaxing. On the flip side, if you do have scalp issues, how often you're coming in can really impact that. So psoriasis, eczema, seborrheic dermatitis, depending on when that flare-up happens for you, we would recommend that you come in as soon as you do get a flare-up. Either way, generally it's like every 4 to 6 weeks that we're recommending a good scalp clean. Every 28 days, your skin cells are ready for exfoliation. So that's where the 4 to 6 week window comes into play. If you're looking to boost your hair growth, we would do 2 treatments 2 weeks apart and then follow up every 4 weeks from there.
I know, that's what I'm doing. I'm so excited. Yeah. What can people do at home to help this part of the journey?
Washing.
Yes,
washing more often. Don't put conditioner on your scalp. That's a really big one as well. But definitely washing more often is really, really key component.
And how do we feel about, brushing our hair and silk scrunchies versus elastics?
Silk scrunchies, definitely a must. Silk scrunchies, you want to make sure that they are mulberry silk. Satin or sateen is still going to strip your hair. Brushing your hair, you want to make sure you're using like a detangling brush, or a wet brush works really well as well. The detangling brush should really have some pretty gentle bristles. They should move pretty good and easily. The wet brushes works really well because it's got that spongy piece inside, so the bristles can just flow in between your hair. Or the Manta hair brushes are also really, really, really good for brushing the hair out, especially if you have like kinky or coily hair. They have a really great brush for that.
Okay, this is great. This is all great homework. I hope everyone's taking notes. What about from a nutrition standpoint? You and I are both passionate water consumers. Love hydration. But what's the relationship between staying hydrated, water, other high nutrition products and foods that we can be having to help, especially if it is hair growth or just healthy hair?
Yeah, so water is so important. We want it for our skin and everything else that happens. But water, when we're growing our hair, it's 25% water. So right inside the follicle is 25% water that's getting pushed out. This part of our hair is only 10% water. So the hydration is really important. So if you're not drinking water while your hair is growing, you're going to have breakage at the top there. That's what's going to happen. The leftover water, that's the 10% left in your strand, that's the part that you want to protect the more often you wash it, you have the opportunity to apply conditioners or masks to it, and that's where you're going to protect that water in it. When it comes to your overall diet, if you're lacking calories and you're eating too low, you're going to lose hair. Your follicles just kind of open up and they start to shed the hair because we're lacking the nutrients to keep that going. Is part of the integumentary system for your skin, hair, and nails. Your hair doesn't keep you alive. It doesn't protect you. It doesn't really do anything for you, and your body knows that. So if you're not eating the right amount of calories, your body's like, well, we got to sustain the rest of the energy for the things that actually do matter and keep you alive. So we're going to let the hair go. So if you're not eating well enough, that's going to be something that's going to come into play. Protein is a factor for it. You don't need to be crushing 150 grams of protein to grow beautiful hair. It really is like an all-encompassing, like, are you getting enough vitamins from everything? Or like, is it cysteine? Is it the right aminos that you're getting to actually grow your hair? So we want to make sure that you have like proper multivitamins and just a really well-balanced diet.
And that's a great takeaway for, I think, just a really nice, healthy life. Yeah. Thank you so much for listening. If you loved this episode, it would mean so much to me if you took a few seconds and shared this on social media, sent it to a friend, or left a 5-star review. There is power in community, and I'm so grateful to have you part of mine.